the break, we asked what percentage of UK trade is with the European Union. The answer is 50%.
Welcome back to Monday's show with Steve First, Anne Diamond and the one and only Mr. Jimmy Osmond. Let's go with the rest of the headlines for you next. Indeed, ladies, indeed, and gentlemen. Including the Tory MP and the Nazi-themed stag do and Mary Portas's plan to save the high street. Bring in market traders. Seriously. But first, has the PM made us the pygmies of Europe, as his deputy Nick Clegg claimed yesterday? 0207 173 5555 is the number you need. Because after walking away from talks on Friday, Cameron said he was acting in Britain's best interests, safeguarding the city and all our wonderful bankers. But now we won't have a say in how EU financial safeguards are going to be structured in the future. Well, before the break, excuse me, it's the crisps, in showing them with the audience. Before the break, Steve said Cameron's move signifies effectively our withdrawal from Europe. We should protect industry, not bankers. That's if you can find much of an industry, although I'll take your point about steel. Anne reckons we've always been on the edge of Europe, and this latest row is just simply going to blow over. A storm in a teacup is how she put it. Jimmy felt it was refreshing to see a politician actually standing up for his own country. Hear to that. But what are you saying at home? That's what we want to know, Kirsty.
OK, we have Mel in Yorkshire, first on line one.
Good morning, Mel.
Yes, good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. So, did Cameron do the right or wrong thing on Friday?
Well, I don't think he had a choice, personally, because I think he was marginalised by the French. And this was quite a deliberate tactic. The proposals on the table were absolutely unacceptable to Cameron, and indeed, in my view, they've been totally unacceptable to any Prime Minister of any political persuasion. This is a deliberate tactic to marginalise the Brits. Just to put it simply, from crisis springs opportunity. And because of the weakened European economic situation, Sarkozy and Merkel have seen the opportunity to forge ahead with the plans for a federal Europe. The thing standing in their way is us. And the reason we're really standing in the way is because Cameron put forward legislation which makes it illegal for any changes to the treaty without a referendum in the UK. Any referendum in the UK that cedes power to Europe would fail, and Sarkozy knows this.
OK.
We are standing in his way. The only option he had is to marginalise us. Now,
Mel, can I just...
in the treaty...
Obviously not. I just wanted to ask, Mel, reading Andrew Rawnsley in particular, he suggests that part of the problem precedes Friday, goes a long way back, and that is David Cameron hasn't done much to ingratiate himself, for want of a better word, with Sarkozy, Merkel, et al. And I just wonder what your take is on that. That yes, the deal, you know, the Eurozone, we're not in it, so the interest of those within the Eurozone is going to be different from our interests, but perhaps the actual diplomatic situation, maybe Cameron has some responsibility there, that he hasn't put enough effort into winning European leaders over?
That could be, and that's a hard one to say because we've not sat at the negotiating tables with all these meetings. And it could be, I think where it probably went wrong, as somebody said, if you want to be in Europe, you've got to be part of the Euro.
Yeah.
So when Gordon Brown ducked out of being part of the Euro, which is the one thing I actually agree he was absolutely right, he then set about a process of marginalisation. And that's exactly where we are. Now we're coming to the fulfilment of that.
Then I was just going to go, so taking Steve's line, would you agree with Steve that this is a signal of our effective withdrawal from Europe?
Yes, and I think we have to accept that may well be what happens. And I would take exception to something that Steve said. He talks about the fact that British industry will suffer. Now, I spent 20 years of my life selling products into Europe. And I can assure you and everyone else that nobody bought anything from us unless we were either more competitive, B, we offered a technical advantage, or C, we had a very good agent that handed out presents at Christmas. That's the way Europe works. The same with selling products in America. So the fact that we're part of the common market doesn't make a blind bit of difference whatsoever.
OK, Mel, fantastic, cool. You sound quite buoyed up by it all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's have another. Thank you, Mel.
OK, we have Linda on line 2.
Good morning, Linda.
Good morning.
Having heard Mel, what would you say to that? That this is, I mean, Mel's basically saying this is all good news.
Well, I don't feel it is. I think David Cameron has isolated us in Europe. I think we've lost any influence that we could have had to shape the new Europe that is emerging. So I think it will emerge.
But do you not think that the precursor of this was our decision not to develop the euro, not to take the euro? That is the point where there's us and then there's everybody else.
That's right. I think it was. I mean, I'm one of these people that thinks we should have taken the euro.
Well, I used to, but I've changed my mind.
I know I'm in a tiny minority. I felt very upset when you changed your mind.
Well, it's just that... I mean, do you not think, thank heavens we didn't? I mean, I was quite passionately in favour. I thought we could have... I thought our problem was we just would miss having the Queen on our banknotes. I kept saying we could have the euro pound. There's a way we can sell this to the country. But now I do think, thank heavens we didn't go into it.
Well, no, I feel this is a bad time for the euro. Well, it's a bad time for every currency, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless you're Swiss. But I feel that out of this kind of upheaval that's coming in Europe, we're going to have much better banking regulations. There'll be a transaction tax which will bring in a lot of money. Which
they say, or which the Brits say, will damage our status as the centre, you know, as the #1 trading spot in the world, that it will become uncompetitive.
Well, no, I don't think it would. If we had all been in it together and everybody had had the same banking regulations applied, how can that damage anyone? It would be a level playing field.
Well, because Europe would still be, we're not going to be in it together with Japan, with the United States.
That's true. They would keep their currencies, but that's what America wants. And so does China. They want a trading bloc in Europe. I mean, that's just my feeling. I have this awful feeling that we will end up as kind of like an offshore tax haven where the worst banking practices and, you know, the real casino banking and hedge fund speculating will...
Well, you mean like we've had for the last 15, 20 years?
Exactly.
Like
that. Even worse.
Linda, thank you. It's great to hear, because I'm now completely lost, actually. I don't know what I think about this, but I know that I used to feel like you, but I think I now feel a bit like Mel, which... Anyway, we'll take another call, see if we can decide.
Here we have Michael next on line 4.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Well, you're going to be our final call on this, so you can redress the balance here. Who did the right thing? Did Cameron do the right thing? I think
Cameron didn't have any other alternative. I agree very much with your first caller.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to go back to when de Gaulle would not even allow us into the EU. And France have never wanted us in it.
No.
The man was absolutely right, your first caller, that we're isolated. We always have been, and we always will be, because we weren't wanted in it. And
well, then, but Michael, I mean, you say we always will be. You know, some of the pro-Europe commentators have said, you know, there was Nick Clegg behind the scenes. He's been flying all over Europe. He's been trying to get leaders on side. He's been making plays to get us into Europe. And actually, it's Cameron and the Eurosceptics that have very much made the running on this, that it's his decision for us not to be close, you know,
well, Clegg,
to disengage.
Clegg...
Go on.
You've gone quiet.
Oh, no, we're listening to you, Michael.
Oh, right, sorry. Well, Clegg would never have got any power in this country if it weren't for the coalition. And he can more
well, then, hang on. Then the Tories wouldn't have got any power without the Lib Dems. No, it is a coalition.
It's a catch-20... It's catch-22...
It's democracy.
It's a catch-22 situation. Without one, the other one couldn't have operated.
That's right.
Now, we've got I can go back through it when Margaret Thatcher, all right, Pete, I know you personally don't like her.
Yeah.
As an individual person, nor do I, but as a Prime Minister, she done a lot of good as well as a lot of bad.
Yeah. She certainly stuck by her word.
She fought for this country, and she got us a rebate. Tony Blair
Margaret Thatcher
lays down, gives up our rebate, takes on a lot of... I've been an employer all my life, and he has created more problems for employers than anybody did.
I have to go to a break, Michael, but one of the things that is worth reiterating is Thatcher's view on Europe was that she would never have left an empty seat. She would have made sure that what Cameron did is effectively leave our seat there. She would have made sure our voice was heard. And that is a critical difference, I think, between her approach to Europe and Cameron's. Now, Kirsty's been whispering in my ear. She said the calls were roughly 50-50, which I'm surprised by, because I thought the sceptics would probably win that one. Thanks for the calls. After the break, it's Jimmy with the rest of today's headlines for you, including claims News of the World hacks didn't delete all those million-dollar voicemails, and why teachers could soon be masters of their own classrooms. Back with more after the break.
According to much is a £14 Heston Blumenthal Christmas pudding selling for on eBay? £50, £250 or £450?